Hopefulness 2.0, Friday, March 6th, 2026. Finally made coffee. I went to the store last night, bought some. Come on, get up here. Got this vanilla nut. I'm guessing it's like a vanilla hazelnut, maybe? I don't know. It just says natural and artificial vanilla nut flavor. And since I don't have a tea kettle or anything, and I still haven't found, I don't even know if I still have the little, it's a little pan that's like this big. It's like maybe 2 cups. I'm not even sure I still possess that. I may have it somewhere in my stuff. So I wasn't going to make any hot coffee, and so I looked up online on how to use the AeroPress. AeroPress. You can't read the lettering because it's poorly designed for that. Just a little bit. So I was like, well, let's see if I can make cold brew with it. And in fact, I can. I also wanted to get a funnel the other day at the store. They didn't have any. But then I found out that I have this, and this might actually do the trick for most things. So we'll see what happens with that. I gotta go downstairs, pay my rent, and then figure out how to get invited onto the Loft app so that I can pay my rent that way. So I don't have to do it during the fucking day. I don't even know where my brush is. Oh, there it is. It's funny, yesterday, or maybe depressing. Maybe depressing is the right word, actually. So yesterday, I was very tired. After recording this and then, having it take 8 hours to upload because my internet's crap in this place. It's great once I leave the building. It's fuck. So I may have to. I'm probably also going to try to get that free trial of AT&T just to see what the situation is. Really do a stress test on it. But I was sitting there watching some videos, and I'm just lazing about, and I'm just bleh. I was like, damn, I was not productive today. And then I want to say, maybe a couple minutes later, it wasn't an immediate realization, but I was like, no, I was productive. One, I've been productive all fucking week, so I need to stop kicking myself over that. And 2, I was still productive because I washed a bunch of fucking dishes, and I made 2 batches of bread. Or dough. Because I haven't made the bread yet, but sure, they're relatively easy and, they don't take up a lot of effort, but you may have seen yesterday, it can take quite a bit of effort because of all the stickiness. So I'm just why am I beating myself up over this shit? And, I got to thinking, and then I realized I have this list of productive things. I'm going to read them out. I had to add one, but getting groceries is productive. Stretches, walking, sitting and breathing. Just sit and breathe. You don't even have to meditate. Right. It can be all kinds of nonsense. It can be jokes. It could be notes about, jokes, which is what a lot of this is. Because I started using it. Let's see what the thing says. It's not pens and shit. Oh, it very much is about comedy. And more than half of it, there's no real funny shit in here. It's mostly just notes about comedy. Writing, making music, learning a language. Got my flashcards for Icelandic. I put that down. That's going to take forever to put this on here and keep it stuck. It's not the best place where it's just slowly sliding. It's like, it's still going. You see it? Yeah. Well, you can also fall too. So you don't really get a good sense of stability that way. That's done. Sing. I'm not a singer really, but like singing is still productive. Even if you're literally just doing it in your shower, or if you're doing it in your chair, or whatever. Speaking of showering. Taking your medication is productive. Laundry, sweeping, mopping, vacuuming, making lists is productive. I stole that from Adam Savage when I was listening to his audiobook, which you should listen to, and it's called Every Tool is a Hammer. Brush your teeth. Cook. Cooking is productive. I had to cook in some way or another. I mean, I wouldn't even really heat anything up. But nevertheless, you could say making the dough is a form of cooking. Fuck it, let's do that. Comedy and friends. That's something that's more related to myself and what I'm trying to accomplish there. I don't know if I'm going to make any friends there. Organize is a form of productivity. Napping is productive. Taking time to yourself to rest is productive. Note cards of any kind, making them, reading them, etc. is productive. And somehow I didn't have this on here, but I think the reason why is because when I made this, I'm still living in this shelter. And so I will continue to add to this list, but clean dishes. Cleaning dishes is productive. And I think that's one of the things, like, in this country especially, but just in a generally capitalist world. Oh yeah, pay your people. I don't know if I said that or not. If I did, well, I just said it again. Pay your people better. I may have to go online and change my title from yesterday, because I don't know if I did. I may have just put in pay people better. I don't know. We'll see. That's pretty good though. It's cold brew, and it's more like lukewarm brew. Sugar dissolved easily enough, and then I'm using heavy cream instead of milk because I don't have any milk right now. Gonna need to get some milk for some stuff, yeah, pay people better, do your dishes, and stop forcing yourself. Stop forcing the capitalist society onto yourself when you are in your space. It is hard to do because so much of those outside pressures exist, and they often dictate so much of your life, and thus easier said than done, I know. Having lived in that society myself, but you will have okay, here's a perfect example. Now, maybe not a supremely perfect example, but a pretty good example nevertheless. I wish I could remember her name. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick. So, Alyssa Liu, Olympic gold medalist in figure skating. While, yes, her routine hit a lot of the technical marks and everything, she's doing it because she wants to. Now, of course, a shit ton of caveats, a shit ton of asterisks that are involved in this whole process of hers. She's been doing this shit all of her life. She's leading a very privileged life because virtually nobody in virtually nobody in this world can get to her level of skill without leading a privileged life. You just don't get to be, it's like, depending on where you're born, depending on, who your family is, the kind of money you have, all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, and I'm not saying leave those aside, but like, let's not focus on those for the time being and look at her compared to so many other Olympians. She's doing it for the fun. She's enjoying herself. She's finding the passion. And in so doing, she got a gold medal. Now, that is a form of confirmation bias, a form of selection bias. Of course it is. But I think we can all learn something from that too. Where if we focus to the best of our abilities, of course, not on, like, you recognize that you need this job. Yes, you recognize that you've got to travel 30 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You've got to commute each fucking day to said job. All of these things do impact your ability to enjoy the rest of your life. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm not dismissing those facts. I'm saying when you can, when you get a moment, sit there for a second, breathe, and try to find the things that you enjoy. It can be fucking hard. I know. I have very little enjoyment in my life. I'm only in this situation because I've been homeless for so long. And how many white people are in this building? I don't fucking know. So far, not that many. I think I've seen one white passing person. Most are people of color, which means most people who are homeless. Oh, it's not even which means. I mean, that's just, a false equivalence, but or false whatever causality. But you go out on the street, right down the street, you will see Midnight Mission, and you will see a bunch of homeless people who can't get inside that building or any of the other shelters because there's not enough beds. Most of them are people of color. And so I recognize that I'm lucky in that regard too. And I also recognize that while I was at the homeless shelter, I could not do the very thing that I'm talking about doing. I could barely enjoy myself because there's two sides of who I was at that place. There was the guy who wanted to go, wanted to claw back into his cave and not be near anybody. And then there was the other guy who enjoys communicating. And so I'm always at odds with regards to that. But the main reason the first guy was first is because that was the main sort of state. That was my base state throughout the entirety of that. Was as much of an extrovert as I am, I felt I needed to withdraw to prevent myself from becoming overwhelmed, because there's the individual aspects, but then there's the sort of negative social aspects, the dramas and such. Some of those dramas were, not as bad or not as problematic at times, depending on who was there and so on. And so, there's an ebb and a flow to it. And there will be an ebb and a flow to everybody's life who is dealing with these, workplace stressors, etc. Pick this up and clean it. It's not so much clean it, just kind of effectively dust it off. It's got a little bit of sugar and a little bit of coffee on it. And, I have my anxieties. I still haven't talked to, hey, your people better. I still haven't contacted my physical therapist. I haven't gone downstairs to pay my rent. I haven't asked them again about the $750 gift card for the move-in bonus, which is a thing that was promised to us. There are a number of things that I haven't done yet, But those are like the things that I've got to do for other people, you know? Those are the productive things that we do that we often will stress about. Now, of course, they're all for me too. You know, the $750 thing is for me too. That's going to help me out. I can buy some extra stuff that I would like to have, you know, to, you know, either, like, for instance, I want to get a whittling kit. I want to get some wood, you know, whittling knife, so I can whittle some stuff, because I want to try to whittle some Final Fantasy tunes, mostly tone berries, because those guys are badass. They're adorable as fuck and deadly as hell. But I want to also have something to do with my hands, because I'm not doing things with my hands, and so I feel unproductive. And then the 750 thing, you know, I want to get, like, you know, it's in relation to it, of course. I want to get, you know, like, bigger mason jars. These are 32 ounces. I'm going to get some 64 ounce ones, because then I also, in addition to, want to get like this mason jar filter for cold brew, because then I could do the cold brew thing in a big old mason jar, stick that in the fridge, then I just have some cold brew on hand. And you know, the jar and the filter are like $50 total. There's like 6 jars though. So like 6 mason jars, pretty reasonable size. I can do stuff with those things. I can put stuff in them. They don't just sit there being empty. You know, akin to, well, let's see the other one instead. Akin to these bad boys, you know? I can put stuff in these. I can put sugar in them. I can put rice. Rice is going to go in one of them. In fact, that's probably what's going to happen. It's like I've got 4 of these, right? I got one there in the fridge full of water. I got this bad boy. And then I got the 2 that are up there. I got the 8-pea flour and the bread flour. One of these is going to have wheat flour. And then one of them is going to have rice in it. And then all 4 of these are going to be used. I don't really need more than 4 of these, though. But with like a 64 ounce mason jar, I can put macaroni pasta in it. I can put other kinds of pasta, you know, spaghetti, etc. I could put sugar in one if I wanted to, because a lot, you know, I think a 64 ounce jar would actually hold maybe a 4-pound bag, possibly, maybe less. Or rather, it may not hold all of it, but you know, it's just like, mason jars are useful. They're not, you know, single use. Whereas, you know, the whittling knife is basically single use. The wood is going to be, you know, something that I literally whittle away. But it's something to do. Plus the knife is like $20, and then, you know, the wood is like $40, I think. But then who knows how long that's going to take for me to do, to whittle away. So, but again, the main idea, the main point of this is productivity comes in many forms. It's not just about providing for another. It's also providing for yourself. And it isn't intended to be wholly selfish in that you're providing for yourself at the expense of another. This isn't necessarily a null-sum game. You providing for yourself, being productive for yourself, taking naps, cleaning your own dishes, etc., are good for you. And when you do things that are good for you, you then become better as a person and can more positively influence people around you. You know, like when I go up on planes, I always try to bring some candies with me. The reason why is because they may or may not, like there was one time there was somebody who didn't like chocolate, and I had only brought chocolate, and I didn't realize I only brought chocolate. And it was unfortunate. But they were still appreciative of that fact. They were appreciative of the fact that I did something nice. Now, what did I do initially? When I first started doing it, I did it because I wanted stuff. I was like, ooh, if I bring, these chocolates and stuff, they'll give me free stuff, which they did. But over time, and while I haven't flown that much since then, I've flown enough for me to recognize, hey, I don't have to do this for me. If I get something out of it, okay, cool. But it's not about me. It's about the people who work on it. Like, yeah, the positive feedback that I get is great. But that positive feedback also has a potential to influence everybody else on the plane and make, by making their day just a little better, they may react to things differently. They may react more positively to a stressful situation or to a more complex situation, what have you. It's, paying it forward. It's spreading the joy, as it were. And so the reason I do it isn't to get stuff now. It's to hopefully create a positive chain reaction in that plane. And the same thing can happen with yourself. If you're able to be productive for yourself, you can create positive chain reactions external of yourself. Now, if you spend only time by yourself, all right, whatever. Sure, at some point you'll have an interaction with somebody, whether, you're going downstairs, and you open a door for somebody, whatever it happens to be. As a depressed person, and not somebody who is sad on one day, as a person with major clinical depression, as with I can't remember the other more current term for dysthymia, but it's persistent depression over a long period of time. I know how bad it feels just to exist. And so part of this is doing it to make myself feel better about the basic shit, the basic day-to-day. But it's also about, hopefully, again, there's no guarantee, but the more you do it, the higher your probability is. Everything's a gamble in life. So, increase your chances of winning. Your winning, in this case, being positively affecting other people. Watch Ted Lasso. Fuck, just watch that show. The man, he's obviously a literal caricature. There's no, there's very few people in this world who could behave like Ted Lasso and make it work. But he's also the epitome of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He's doing all the stuff. That is basically what the show is. Now, the book is pretty boring because it's all the same shit being regurgitated over and over and over and over again. In one way or another, it's expanding on itself and it's elaborating on itself. And it's kind of self-masturbatory in a lot of ways. But you can take pieces from that. What did he do? He starts making these biscuits, cookies for his boss. Well, that's advice I've received from people. But you know what? I get the time, generally speaking. Now, when I start making cookies, I will start sharing them with people. Because I do like to share those cookies. Especially when I like them and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So, but you got to start at home. You got to start with yourself. And you got to start rethinking what you do in life. And productivity has essentially been hijacked by the general capitalist mindset that says, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Okay, I think that's where it starts. Either somebody has said it to you or you've heard somebody say it at some point, whether it was at a TV show or whatever. Hell, watch Scrubs from back in the day. And Dr. Cox is shitting on JD about the fact that he's leaning up against the wall and essentially being more productive as a structure for the wall than anything else or whatever. I can't remember the exact phrasing because it was said by, John C. McGinley in a more hilarious way. But the point is that we often do not see people as valuable. And a lot of the time, it's because we don't see ourselves as valuable. We don't see the things that we do for ourselves, the small things that we do for ourselves as valuable. Washing your dishes, keeping your place clean, keeping yourself fed, going to the grocery store on a regular basis, all the things, especially the things that seem tedious, those things are beneficial to you. Those things are good for you. They are productive. So what I suggest doing similar. Write down a list of stuff that is productive, but don't necessarily make money for other people. Instead, they are things that you do for yourself or for others that you either should do, like getting your groceries and showering. Those things are necessary. But also things that you want to do, whether it's whittling or singing or drawing or napping. Even if it seems, because like you as a human cannot be go 16 hours a day every single day for the rest of your fucking life. You gotta be able to sit and breathe. So relax, breathe, be productive, but maybe change your focal point to yourself, to those you love, and to those that have a positive impact on your life. Have fun.